From New York City, it's Broadway 98, launching the Tony Awards. The American Theater Wing's annual Antoinette Perry Awards, featuring Mark Lynn Baker, Nell Carter, Stockard Channing, Mary Lou Henner, Swoosie Kurtz, Rosie O'Donnell, Jane Seymour, Tommy Tune, and 10 live Tony Award presentations. And now, backstage from the award ceremony at Radio City Music Hall and Rockefeller Center, Rosie O'Donnell.
The American Theater Wing's Tony Award, Broadway's highest honor. Rosie O'Donnell here, and welcome to Broadway 98, launching the Tony Awards. 10 Tony Awards will be given out in the next hour. Best Musical Score, Best Scenic Design, Best Direction of a Play and Musical, Best Choreography, yeah, there's gonna be dancing. Check that out. It'll be a lot better than that. Let's let the awards begin.
Coming up, the Musical Awards. But first, the people who made it happen.
In the theater, we come together to tell an audience, to show an audience, to invite an audience to live in and through something.
If you're lucky, you create this thrilling event with everybody's ideas cohesively put together.
About communicating a message beyond any individual on that
stage. Suddenly, it's about all of us, being in the same marathon, running the same race.
The seamlessness of a musical, a good musical when it's working, is achieved by intense collaboration and people having the same point of view about the material.
I've been listening to the words of Mr. Booker T. Washington. He is a great man, Sarah.
I think you're a great man, Colehouse.
Oh, not like that, Sarah, not like that.
The book writer, I think, is the architect of a musical. Most people think it's connecting dots. You write from, oh, what a beautiful morning to some enchanted evening with logical dialogue to get you from one song to the other. It's not that at all. The blueprint has to be there.
Step right up and have your silhouette made by a real artist with ordinary paper, a pair of scissors, and some glue.
When it comes to moving the story forward in a musical, I think the composer and lyricist are utterly integral to the drama.
Evelyn Nesbit, hey look, she's on her vaudeville stage.
What we try to do is to incorporate the book into the flow of the music in large part, so it becomes a very fluid kind of form.
America! You'll soon be eating apple pie from off a china plate. Pretty dresses, pretty dolls, just wait.
My most intense collaboration is with the composer and lyricist. We have to create a structure that will support music and dance, which are big emotional explosions.
The crime of the century, crime of the century, all for a youthful fling. Fortune, fame, and a ruined name.
And now I'm the girl on the swing.
Time is an ocean of endless tears.
On an acting level, you collaborate. Just being a part of this ensemble kind of thing. It was such a rich atmosphere. To walk into a situation where you're gonna work with Paul Simon, oh my God, very dynamic, very, very dynamic situation. It was a situation that I'd never been in my life. I've learned tons.
as a composer, I don't have the experience in theater. But that, I think, was an advantage for us because we brought in a whole new sound to musical theater. I worked very closely with Garth Fagan, the choreographer, because it was important for me to see what's in his mind, you know, so I can musically be a good backup for him.
Yes. 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 It's a give and take in theater that's important. One of the things that works with Julie and I, Julie King and I, is that we both have a love and a healthy respect for the impossible. I mean, if it's difficult, that doesn't stop us. The costumes and the puppets in Lion King offered a challenge for me. At first, when I saw them, I started to get very nervous. Suddenly, we have headpieces that add 2 feet to the dancer's center. Yeah, so this way we get it leaping, but still watch your neck now. I don't want you injuring your neck, but I want to get the gazelle leaping. And then I said, well, wait a minute, chill. You've never done this before. Why not see it as a way to grow? The reason collaboration is important is because you can learn a lot and you can come up with some pretty hip things that are almost impossible, but wonderful.
I don't have all the ideas. The dance arranger has the ideas, the director has the ideas, the musical director has the ideas, and ultimately, the most important thing is to choose the best idea and let people speak.
I could go rap. I do rap. With Rob, I feel he's made me confident, even though I'm not a trained dancer and I have peculiarities in my own movement. And of course, for the character, that's really great because it looks really easy and natural, and it's also got kind of the sort of sexuality of the character.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, baby.
I think that everybody who ever wins any sort of award should get up on the stage with everybody else connected with that production. Every moment you experience of theater is really the collaboration of close to 100 people.
I think if you try and serve yourself, you're in trouble. I think if you try and serve the play and try and serve the characters and the story, then you're on the right track.
Direct from rehearsals for next season's musical Easter Parade, ladies and gentlemen, Tommy Tune. Here to present our first award of the evening for Best Choreography is a man who has made Broadway history. Mr. Tune, a performer, choreographer, and director, has won an astonishing 9 Tony Awards.
Good evening, thank you. Wow. Radio City Music Hall, this is exciting. Listen, no matter how many Tonys one has taken home, the excitement of winning one never diminishes. Although this year's 4 nominees for Best Choreography have been honored in the past with a total of 11 Tony nominations, none of them has ever won before. So, for one happy choreographer, tonight's the night. The nominees are Graziella Daniele for Ragtime, Garth Fagan for The Lion King, the Forever Tango dancers for Forever Tango, and Rob Marshall for Cabaret. And the 1998 Tony Award for Best Choreography goes to Garth Fagan for The Lion King.
Wow. First of all, I'd like to thank Julie Taymor for a great, great, great creative, inventive spirit and for her creative stamina. I'd like to thank Peter and Tom and Stuart and, of course, Michael Eisner. And most of all, I'd like to thank the fabulous cast of Lion King, especially the dancers, the crew of Lion King, Lebo M, who gave me such inspiration with music. And as we say, I am from the not-for-profit world, as you know. That's where I rehearsed this occasion with my fabulous dancers from Garth Fagan Dance and my assistants, Norwood Pennywell and Natalie Rogers. I'm extremely proud of this moment, and as we say in The Lion King, be prepared, feel the love every night, and fill yourself with the circle of life. Thanks.
And now, Nell Carter, presenting the award for Best Original Score, Music and Lyrics. Miss Carter is a much-loved veteran Broadway musical performer who won a Tony for Ain't Misbehavin'.
Good evening, and thank you so much. Last season, I was the mean Miss Hannigan in Annie. But this season, I'm just my old, sweet, lovable self again. A lover of Broadway musicals and a lifelong admirer of those great talents who compose their music and their lyrics. And so I feel especially honored to present the Tony tonight to one of these 4 nominated teams of musical collaborators. I am so nervous. I love them all. It's time to suck up. Music, Stephen Flattery, and lyrics, Lynn Ahrens for Ragtime. Music, Henry Krieger. Lyrics, Bill Russell for Sideshow. Music, Paul Simon, and lyrics, Paul Simon and Derek Walcott for The Cake Man. And music and lyrics, Elton John, Tim Rice, Lebo M, Mark Messina, Jeff Rifkin, Julie Taymor, and Hans Zimmer for The Lion King. You know, they all sound like they were named after animals, not that. Anyway, the American Theater Wing's Tony Award goes to Ragtime. Whoa! Stephen Flattery and Lynn Ahrens. Where are you? Tell her not to wear it.
We're unbelievably grateful and honored, and we said to each other that if we did get to say anything tonight, that we wanted to make a wish for everybody writing in the American musical theater now. We wish you, the mentors, the friends, the producers, the actors, the workshops who have nurtured our career for 15 years. We hope that your source material is as challenging and rich as E.L. Doctorow's great novel. And as for collaborators, may you all have the joy and the inspiration and the sheer fun of working with people like Terrence McNally, Graziella Danielle, and Frank Galati. We love them so much.
And We hope that you're able to find a producer as passionate and gutsy and someone who loves musicals as much as Garth Drabinsky. Also, just zipping through, I see that. Please, hurry. So there's so many other wonderful people that I'd like to thank. My music staff, David Loud, Bill Brown for his wonderful orchestrations, the producers of the record, Bill Rosenfield and J. David Sachs, and our wonderful designers, the best cast. I love them. And I'd like to say thank you to Trevor Hardwick for the bow tie and many other things. And I'd also like to thank my folks in Pittsburgh for the piano lessons. They really came in handy. Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom and Dad. I love you. I love you, Neil Costa. You're the best. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Going on, I'm like a bad penny. I can't get rid of me. Lucky me. I get to hand out the awards. Last year, a Tony Award was awarded for the first time for Best Orchestration of a Musical and established as an annual award. I am now about to present it for the second time. The nominees are William David Braun for Ragtime. Yes. Robert Earhart, David Messinger, and Bruce Fowler, The Lion King. Michael Gibson, Cabaret, and Stanley Silverman for The Cape Man. And the Tony goes to, honey, bring me that award. Come on, quick. I gotta suck up. These people right. Come on. I haven't worked Broadway in so long. I need a job. Come and stay with me. Oh my goodness. It goes to William David Braun. But wait. Mr. Braun couldn't be here tonight because he's making money. He's working on another show in London, and I'm sure that he will be so happy to get this, and I promise I will give this to him as soon as I see him. I really will give it back to him. Well, everybody else has too.
To present the award for Best Book of a Musical, Mary Lou Henner. Remembered on TV for Taxi and Evening Shade, Miss Henner began her career in the theater in the National Road Tour of Grease, and only last year starred on Broadway as Roxy Hart in Chicago.
Oh, good evening and thank you. You know, I've been asked to give this award because in the last year I wrote a book and I starred in a musical. Well, you know, a lot of people, even veteran theater goers, often seem to ask, what the heck is the book of a musical? Well, it's simple. It's everything that's not the songs. All of the dialogue, the jokes, the story, and as Terrence McNally explained, the architecture. And they're no cinch to write either. In fact, more musicals flock because their books don't work than for any other reason. So cheers to this year's 4 nominees for Best Book of a Musical, who are Terrence McNally for Ragtime, Bill Russell for Sideshow, Roger Allers and Irene Mecchi for The Lion King, and Nan Knighton, The Scarlet Pimpernel. And the 1998 Tony Award for Best Book of a Musical goes to Terrence McNally for Ragtime.
I have 3 enormous thank yous. First, for this award, it means a lot. Second, to my collaborators. From day one, they have been the most magnificent partners. I wouldn't be standing up here without them. And our designers, our cast, Garth and Marty, thank you from Stephen and Lynn and I for our lives. And third, I want to thank the theater community. You came together when I was in trouble. There was a time of oppression, and you spoke up. You came together overnight. Our voices were heard, and we won, and I'm very grateful for that. Without you, I wouldn't be standing up here either, and eventually none of us would. So this is for freedom. Thank you.
Coming up, the Design Awards. But first, let's meet the designers on Broadway 98, launching the Tony Awards.
The relationship between the director and the other creative collaborators is a very intimate and a very, very complicated one.
It's the job of the set designer, the lighting designer, and the costume designer to provide what the evening of theater is going to be.
How does it all come together? It's wonderful. Set designing is the best job in the entire world. It's the best. You have to be a little bit of an architect. You have to be a little bit of an electrician. You have to be a little bit of an artist. You have to be a little bit of a historian. You have to be a little bit of lots of things, and you're not good at any of them.
We always call this the 3/4 scale version of their house.
I would do anything in my life to help actors, you know. They do the hard work. I'm there to serve. I don't think scenery stands by itself. I think scenery is kind of overrated. You know, if you're looking at the scenery, there's something wrong. Good scenery you don't see.
Mama, yeah. 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 Mama, yeah.
The set designer provides a sequence of stage pictures which enable the director to tell the story.
Let's use the Stampede. How do you do that in the theater? So dynamic, so grand, so big, thousands of animals.
And the main idea was to give it a very extreme perspective, so that the little wildebeest in the far distance are absolutely minute, and then the next lot of wildebeest are on rollers that come up out of the floor, and they're rolling towards us, so it looks like the wildebeest are coming over a hill, and then another roller with even bigger wildebeest on it, and then the dancers, who are dressed as wildebeest, coming up out of traps in the floor.
I like looking out. The little boats are like sunspots.
There aren't any little boats.
UNESCO is working in the language of fairy tale. It is a place of fantasy. It is not a realistic, it is not like somewhere in New Jersey. And in the end, we decided, since there are so many chairs, perhaps there should only be doors. So there are no walls, there are only doors which open into nowhere.
Getting all the doors working and just sheer choreography was probably one of the most challenging things. Because it's a very physical set. It takes a lot of beating every night.
One of the jobs of a lighting designer is to be an illusionist, to convince the audience that they're someplace special. The job for me as the lighting designer for The Lion King was to create a luminous world, a magical, vibrant world filled with light that evoked the majesty of the Serengeti, the majesty of natural light in Africa.
This used to be a theatre, but it stopped being a theatre 30 years ago. It became a cinema, and it then became a club. So what we were doing was turning a theatre that was a club back into the theatre in order to turn it into a club again?
We use many different types of lighting besides theatrical lighting. We use the chasing lights to show the motion and the excitement of the club in action.
The chase lights go all the way around the audience. But the other part of them is that there's a lot of chase lights that are broken. Bulbs are not all the same type to give it a little bit more of an authentic feel.
Footlights are an electrified version of an old gas light fixture.
There's new equipment behind there, but from the front, it looks like an antique footlight. In the case of Cabaret, it's a total environment. So everything is lit to make the audience feel like they're part of this club.
It's extraordinary to see what happens to the actors in ragtime when they put on these clothes. And I will never forget the first day I came into the theater and I saw them for the first time in those clothes, and I was overcome.
He was looking up at the stage and he said to me, "You make them do it." He said, "They get dressed and they come on stage and suddenly they're not in sneakers and they're in their real shoes and their coats and hats, and suddenly it all falls together."
The details, the buttons, the stitching, the careful organization of subtle shades of color, of textures, of brocades, of cottons and linens. It's breathtaking.
In a way, it does cap it off. It just changes the way they have to move and how they have to respond.
We had to have the actors' humanity involved. This is a very essential part. These are anthropomorphized characters. They are animals with human characteristics. You're getting the animal and the human simultaneously. You are getting the art of the manipulation, and yet you are also able to forget about it. I had done the head on the head before, but I'd never done one with the ability to then go into the more animal mode. It is sort of magical, and the fact that you actually see the head coming forward, and now the actor goes into a more animal shape, an animal form. And what do you need besides the tail that you swish and the head there? That's the point. It's about allowing the audience then to fill in the blanks.
Money makes the world go around, the world go around, the world go around.
This is the most wonderful assignment because what we get to do is go back into Christopher Isherwood's brain in Weimar Republic land. We're trying to sort of figure out how we relate to that debauched era of the late 20s and the early 30s, and we're finding shocking similarities which sort of make us scream. And I think it's sort of reflected by the things they're wearing.
These stockings started off with one little rip here and one little rip here, and the rest just happened.
So it's like a natural evolution.
And now presenting the Cabaret Girls.
William Ivy-Long decided not to do any costume drawings. You went into his place and it was like a yard sale. There was all this, like, old clothes.
Vintage clothes from the flea markets, right? Didn't we put you in a lot of mothballs smelling? They stunk.
Yeah, but that's
the whole house was terrible. And we played dress up. This was actually my great aunt's.
Oh, I like that. He would take it out and, you know, and then he narrowed it down and took all these pictures of you and then put them on a big board so the next time you went you could see various things that worked, things that didn't.
I mean, I showed them to the directors and they sort of picked.
Texas. Yes, Texas is from America.
We wanted to get that comfortable but yet on the edge feeling of just what's a little scary. And look, I have to forget everything I know when I'm doing this show because normally one would scream and yell and say, "Help, wardrobe supervisor." But you see, we like the fact that this is all ripped and torn because it's part of the threadbare, tawdry glory, glamour of this particular show.
the best shows are the ones where you can't tell who did what. That's when it really works and you get exciting theatre.
The audience can only leave with their emotions that they felt while they were here for 2.5 hours. That is ultimately what we're in service to.
And it's shocking, you know. It's sometimes wonderful to see, you know. It's like being a kid again.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Lynn Baker. Presenting the Tony for Best Costume Design, Mr. Lynn Baker starred for 7 seasons in TV's Perfect Strangers before turning to Broadway, and roles in such comedy hits as Neil Simon's Laughter on the 23rd Floor.
Good evening, thank you. I am here to present the Tony Award for Best Costume Design. I was last seen on Broadway in the revival of A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, chasing Nathan Lane around the stage. We both wore tunics with short skirts. And incidentally, I've spoken with Nathan, and if it will help to bring back Sideshow, we are willing to replace. Anyway, the 4 nominees for Best Costume Design are William Ivy Long, Cabaret; Santo Loquasto, Ragtime; Martin Pagladinos, Golden Child; and Julie Taymor, The Lion King. And the 1998 Tony Award for Best Costumes Design goes to Julie Taymor, The Lion King.
Oh, this is so delightful. This is wonderful. Well, first of all, I want to thank my co-designer of the puppetry and masks, Michael Curry. There is no design category for that, and as you can see, the separation is very hard to see, to make between them. And also Michael Ward, who designed the exquisite makeup that finishes the whole look. In addition, my associate designer, Mary Peterson, Tracy Dorman, my assistant, and the unbelievable shops, and I can only name 3, Barbara Matera, Sally Ann Parsons, and Donna Langman, and the entire group of extraordinary craftsmen who sewed on every single bead. Finally, I want to thank Tom Schumacher and Peter Schneider for allowing me to play with those images from the film and create a totally theatrical image. Thank you again.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the award for Best Lighting Design, Swoosie Kurtz. Well known for her appearances in movies like Liar Liar and TV's More Tales of the City, Miss Kurtz is even better known on Broadway as a Tony winner for The House of Blue Leaves and 5th of July.
Good evening, and thank you. I'm in the dark about why I was chosen to present the award for lighting. I'm sorry. Okay. Although I am lighthearted, light-footed, and sometimes even a little bit lightheaded. That must be it. The 4 nominees for Best Lighting Design are Paul Anderson for the chairs, Peggy Eisenhower and Mike Baldessari, Cabaret, Jules Fisher, and once again, Peggy Eisenhower for Ragtime. And Donald Holder, The Lion King. And the 1998 Tony Award for Best Lighting Design goes to Donald Holder, The Lion King.
This is unbelievable. I don't know where to begin, but I will say thank you so much to Julie Taymor for her visionary work and for having the faith in me to light it. I'd like to thank Richard Hudson for his beautiful scenery, the folks at Walt Disney Theatrical Productions for their incredible support, production electrician Jimmy Maloney and his magnificent crews in New York and Minneapolis, all my assistants, Gene Koenig-Rubin, Karen Spahn, Marty Vreeland, Laura Bowen, Alan Henderson, Verilight programmer, West Sun International, I can go on. My teachers, Jennifer Tipton, Al Cyrus, the late Helen Merrill, my family, my parents, and of course, the awesome cast and crew of The Lion King. This is incredible. Thank you so much.
The great art of scenic design is one of the true stars of the world's stage. And Broadway is the home of theater's greatest scenery. Show after show dazzles with amazing sets. Yet only 4 each season can end up in line for a Tony. This year's 4 nominees for Best Scenic Design are Bob Crowley, The Cape Man; Richard Hudson, The Lion King; Eugene Lee, Ragtime; and the Quay brothers for The Chairs. The American Theater Wing's Tony goes to Richard Hudson, The Lion King;
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Thomas Schumacher and Julie Taymor for inviting me to take part in this incredible production. I'd like to thank my associate designers, Peter Eastman and Jonathan Fensom, Donald Holder for his beautiful lighting, and the incredible team of model makers and draftsmen who helped me, the crew at the New Amsterdam, and all the people who worked on the building and painting of my scenery. Thank you very much.
Coming up, the Directing Awards. But first, our backstage story continues.
Wildebeest, you have to be in place by then.
It's a very messy moment, and it kind of should be. I think the awkwardness is fantastic.
It's a very peculiar job. You have to ask what sort of person spends their life creating an alternative universe in which they can inhabit and populate and control to a degree.
Rain's ready.
From the first day of rehearsal through to your opening night, you're effectively under a meter, under a clock. We have a problem with the rain at the moment. The rain doesn't work.
So are you waiting?
I am waiting.
You're waiting on me to do.
You're involved in a kind of a race, if you like.
One is a dictator at some points during rehearsal because you suddenly see what you want and you ask people, force people, beg them, shout at them to do it.
I want great urgency there, but I want a real delicacy as well.
So what you're saying is, make it faster, but don't
rush it.
Rush it.
Get up!
That's it. There's an awful lot of laughter in rehearsals. I find doing a play good fun.
Now, the other thing is the gazelles came in front of the zebras. You're partly a psychiatrist, you're partly a creator yourself, but it's really running a large war room that hopefully is more carnival than war. Let's take it from the beginning.
He says I'm exaggerating, but he doesn't tell me.
Let's do it one more time. Okay, we're going to do it again.
Okay.
The best way of working for me is with a director is when you come in as two equal artists. He has something to give, I have something to give.
It's no good it just being all yours as a director. You want to get all that lovely creative stuff that's there.
Did I make petticoat, or are you a stocking man?
One of the most important things a director does is keep his mouth shut.
You have to know when to speak as well as what to speak.
The director will say, yeah, well, that's the way I think about it, or I had these thoughts, and all right, let me hear yours. So it's really sharing.
Your vision at the beginning as a director has to be something which imbues the rest of the people you're working with a certain amount of confidence. They don't think they're going to turn up with somebody who hasn't got a clue. If you've got that extra time there, make noise to fill it. Yeah. But in a sense, it's a bluff.
The key is to get everybody in a room together and create an atmosphere where people can play.
It's working in an environment that will help you be as unself-conscious and therefore as free as possible.
You make an absolute idiot of yourself, as we say at home.
Be silly.
Get the steps wrong.
Fall on my ass. Really make a fool of myself.
Then you get really great work because you edit out the stupid bits and you keep the good things.
You say it, sorry.
Oh, no! Here we go.
That was terrible.
Editing. Editing is a big part of the job. So you get a lot of fantastic creativity coming, but you have to sort of know what to weed through and what to keep.
Well, they're fast, though, aren't they?
Yes.
So let's make your entrance earlier. Yeah, like that.
I'm not up on that stage. I don't do 8 shows a week. So I think it's very, very important for the director to allow the actors to own what they're doing.
That's perfect. And if you have the right people, then hello, you know, I can just sit back, smoke a cigarette, relax, watch them do it, you know?
Now, to present the award for Best Direction of a Play, Stockard Channing. One of New York's leading stage actresses, Miss Channing, who has had several Tony nominations, won the Tony for Best Actress in a Play for A Day in the Life of Joe Egg.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, even when the playwright himself or herself is on hand to attend rehearsals, to put in his or her 2 cents or 40 cents or 50 cents or whatever, it is the director that is without a doubt every play's main man or woman, the captain of a raucous ship of crazy people that often before opening feels like it is about to sink forever beneath the waves. Bummer. So, I think we all must salute this season's 4 nominated directors, those lucky devils, who have successfully and triumphantly sailed their ships into port. And they are Gary Hines for The Beauty Queen of Leenane, Michael Mayer for A View from the Bridge, Simon McBurney for The Chairs, and Matthew Warchus for Art. And the winner is Gary Hines, The Beauty Queen of Leenane.
I said to somebody this afternoon that I wasn't quite sure which would be worse, to win it or not to win it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. This is a singular honor. I'm glad of the opportunity that the award gives me to thank you all in the American theatre for the warmth with which you've welcomed us into your community. The Irish theatre is blessed with very many talented and extraordinary people, and I've been fortunate to work with many of them, none more so than the writer and the cast and the creative team of this production. I'd like also to pay tribute to my colleagues, both past and present, in Druid Theatre Company in Galway, to my colleagues in the Royal Court Theatre in London and the Atlantic Theatre in New York. And also to our producers who brought this production to Broadway. Agus míle buchas go ga'éine inália. But finally, I would like to dedicate this award tonight to my family, to Donal, to Jerome, to Emer, but especially to my most loved parents, whom I have to thank for so much. Oliver and Carmel, this one's for you. Thank you.
And now to present the award for Best Direction of a Musical, Sandy Duncan. A three-time Tony Award nominee, Ms. Duncan reached her greatest heights on Broadway when she flew into everyone's heart as Peter Pan. And next season, she'll star in Easter Parade.
Thank you very much, and good evening. They've given me a little fact to share with you, which I think is terrific because it puts everything into perspective about how time flies and how much gets done. One of our oldest and greatest musical comedy directors, George Abbott, was celebrated a few years ago on his 105th birthday, and he was asked what he felt was the single most sensational contribution to theater art. And he answered with one word: electricity. All right, the nominees tonight for Best Director of a Musical are Scott Ellis for 1776, Frank Galati for Ragtime, Sam Mendes with Rob Marshall for Cabaret, and Julie Taymor for The Lion King. It's the first woman to ever win a Director's Award next to Gary Hines. Yeah, Julie Taymor, I'm sorry.
I'm so happy to be following in a long line of awards for women as directors. Yes, Gary! Anyway, oh, this is just spectacular, spectacular! And thank you for that. First of all, the Lion King cast, to put up with what they have to wear and do, and give me as a director so much enthusiasm and do it all the time. I kiss and love every single one of you. I also want to thank my collaborators, all of them, Richard Hudson, La Boheme, Mark Mancina, the whole group. I can't go on and on about you, but they are the best supporters. I got to pick them. Why? I had the best producers. Producers, Tom Schumacher, Peter Schneider, Michael Eisner, who give you the support as a director. I'm a not-for-profit baby. That means I had Lincoln Center, Music Theater Group, the Public Theater, Theater for New Audience, all of them, all our New York comrades supporting me to play, to grow, to hone my art. Then I get this other company to come in and say, we want you to do it again, and we're going to give you a little more support so it can be a little bit bigger and last a little bit longer, maybe. I thank you, Disney. I thank you, my sweetheart and collaborator, Elliot Goldenthal, and also I have parents, Betty and Mel, who let me be very free when I was a young girl and play, play, play. I love you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jane Seymour. An award-winning film and TV star, Miss Seymour has also appeared frequently on stage, notably in Peter Shaffer's Tony Award-winning Amadeus.
Good evening and thank you. The American Theatre Wing, which has demonstrated its commitment to excellence on Broadway by presenting the Tony Awards each year since 1947, is dedicated not only to promoting live theatre in New York, but also all over the country. And so is the League of American Theatres and Producers, an organization that has been partnered with the Wing since 1967 in presenting the Tonys, and that includes in its membership just about every professional theatre in the United States. Thus, in 1976, the Wing and the League jointly created a special Tony Award to be given annually to a deserving regional theatre. And I am proud now, on behalf of both organizations, to present this year's special Regional Theatre Tony Award to the Denver Center Theatre Company of Denver, Colorado. Since its founding in 1979, the DCTC, as it's familiarly known, has emerged as one of the most dynamic theatre companies in the American West. Staging 11 new productions each season of contemporary and classic plays, the company also puts on US West Theatre Fest, in which yearly readings of 8 new plays are combined with fully staged world premieres of several of those plays the following season. Among them, echoing the original voice of the American West, have been Black Elk Speaks and the current premiere of Taking Leave. With this special Tony goes a grant for $25,000 made by Clairol's Nice and Easy. And here now to accept the award are the Denver Center Theatre Company's artistic director, Mr. Donovan Marley, and the chairman of the Denver Center for the Performing Arts, Mr. Donald R. Sewell.
On behalf of each member of the company who created the work, I thank America's theater critics for their recommendation and the Theater Wing and the League for this award. Personal thanks go to my 2 indispensable partners, Barbara Sellers, my producing director for 30 years, and the visionary founder of the Denver Center for the Performing Arts, Donald Sewell.
This particular Tony means a great deal to us because it represents a team effort over a period of years. I'm proud of our company. I'm proud of our artistic director. I am proud of the city of Denver, a city of less than 2 million, who last year bought more than 1 million tickets to our shows. We are grateful to Clairol for the magnificent check. It will go toward furthering our outreach programs for Denver's children. I hope that they will all grow up nice and easy, use Clairol, and come to our shows. Thank you.
10 awards down and 12 to go. Coming up, we've got Best Acting, Best Play, Best Musical, and lots more. The ceremony continues over on CBS. We've been working on some very special material. You know what I'm going to do? Big opening number. Me and the Broadway Divas singing and dancing. I'm a diva on CBS. I'm a diva on CBS. All right, come on, switch on over. Hope you had fun here. You'll come back here tomorrow. Sure you will. Sesame Street and all. See ya. Come on.
Now, presenting the Cabaret Girls. From Nuno, Fancy, Texas, Dixie, and Helga. Each and every one a virgin. Don't believe me? Then take my word for it. Go ahead. Try Helga. So hot, too. Every night we have to battle with the girls to keep them from taking overboard and taking their things. Go away. Who knows? Tonight we may loose the
Broadway 98, Launching the Tony Awards, was produced with the permission and cooperation of the CBS Television Network and Tony Award Productions, a joint venture of American Theater Wing and the League of American Theaters and Producers. Corporate funding was provided by Loving Care from Clairol. We're proud to celebrate the Tonys. Congratulations to all of this year's nominees. Loving Care, the risk-free way to cover your gray. Major funding was also provided by the annual financial support of viewers like you.